We are gathered here today to put an end to this comp. I don't think the ice caps are melting. I think it's the collective drooling from all these 6 Sentinel Ahri players that are making the oceans rise. I, for one, will not stand for this affront on the environment. This is every comp that beats 6 Sentinels. Yes, this is the exact video you were waiting for. Hey, no need to call me a hero. Just make sure to subscribe. Getting straight into it. The first one is the most obvious one. The true damage vertical. Just another incredibly high level comp. It's been said that only the monkeys in the Japanese Alps have shown the mental capacity needed to play this comp. What with literally playing 0 units on your board in order to secure a spatula on the first carousel. The level of IQ is currently not measurable by any man-made machine. How they managed to achieve this high level of gameplay is currently not entirely understood. True witchcraft. A couple hundred years ago, they burnt people at the stake for much less than this. Listen, there's not much to say with this comp. It's pretty self-explanatory. True damage melts through sentinels like jet fuel does through steel beams. It is the natural counter, so there's not much to say here. Obviously, the peak with this comp comes with a true damage spat, but even without it, if you see that there are 2 or more people playing Ahri or angling Ahri, playing true damage Akali and regular Kate or Ezreal or any other secondary carry will do very well against Sentinels. Now for another one that isn't as self-explanatory, Punk. I was as surprised as you, trust me, but I played as and against Punk several times and I found that this comp actually does pretty well against Ahri, with the caveat that Punk itself takes a decent amount of high roll just to be stable. But if you ever find yourself stable at 7 or 8 with Punk, in the words of a famous philosopher, you're bing chilling. The main thing you want to try to look for is getting Jinx 3 at 2-2. I wouldn't define this as a high roll though. I actually think it low rolls your mental into thinking you might actually do well running Punk. There's something about this comp that just doesn't make any sense to me. Sometimes I feel like I'm really strong and then the entire lobby uses my butt cheeks like the drums in Whiplash. Sometimes I feel hella weak and I just run the entire lobby down. Sometimes I hit Jinx 3 at 2-2 when I'm half asleep at like 7 in the morning. Sometimes I'm sweating my ass off with buckets on the side just to catch some of it. And I'm still level 5 in stage 4 because I've been rolling for 1 Jinx since 3-1. That Jinx 3 at 2-2, by the way, was a 6th place. Maybe it's me, bro. But my gauge for this comp is you need to have great combat augments like Ascension or Contagion, you know, things like that. I imagine the augments on top of hitting the units is what actually allows you to win out in some of the lobbies. There's also that new Twin Terror Punk Executioner comp that I've seen in my lobbies. I haven't tried it yet, but every time I see it, it just disintegrates my comp. So listen, I don't know if that can stop the disease that is 6 Sentinel, but regular Punk can if you hit everything. Next up is Country. Now the big theme with the drooling like a water fountain comp is that Ahri is prone to getting stuck on tanky targets, so she can't take them down quick enough. Country is nothing but tanky targets on the front line. Especially if you have 3's a crowd. Plus, in the middle of the fight, you have another 3,000 health right in on the Old Town Road. Very difficult for Ahri to deal with. I would say to absolutely cap out with Country, you need both Samira and Vex 3-star, so I would say this is no different. Now strap on, because if you thought things were starting to get real exciting with Country, this next one's about to increase the dopamine levels by such an amount that would make Stephen Hawking stand up and run a mile under 6 minutes. We're talking about Yone reroll, everybody. Woohoo! What a time to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. I thank God every day for the gift of life, and what a gift it is to get to live at the same time as Yone reroll. It is truly magnificent. There's something so special about hitting a crowd diver Yone headliner. It's the same feeling you get when you meet your father for the first time, because it also never happens. The thing about this one is that if you have crowd diver headliner, the game just ends instantly. I think they just shut down the servers. But if you have a Heartsteel or Edgelord, then it's actually not unbeatable. Like with a lot of the melee matchups, it ultimately comes down to positioning. With Yone, you want to position him away from the Ahri so that he can scale with his passive, at which point he'll be able to pretty much straight up tank her damage with his Omnivamp. I've gotten real far without mentioning the 5-cost legendary soups. As Riot Blue Velvet is about to find out, 2% headliner odds might still be too much. Now, I've personally never gotten to these very high-end 5 I have 5 cost boards. My brain, as you can probably tell, is as wrinkled as a bowling ball. I'm not smart enough to build some of these comps, but can confirm if you stabilize with all the 5 costs, you pretty much beat everything. I'm sure that comes as no surprise. If you spend a small fortune to get to level 9, and then in order to buy the units, you have to use the returns from your investment on CryptoZoo, then you should basically be able to beat anything that comes your way. So no problems there. Now, one of my personal favorites, Riven reroll, is one of the most fun comps in the game. This one is better than Yone in my opinion, because unlike Yone, you can't just take any of Riven's headliners and not be speedrunning 9th. This comp beats Ahri pretty consistently, as long as you have some armor shred somewhere, but if you don't have great items on Kate or Viego, then you might actually lose. You absolutely need that secondary carry with Riven. On that note, if you have 6 8-bit, it's pretty much a guaranteed win. 6 8-bit fully stacked and almost at the cash out should be pretty much able to beat anything. Now, if you look at a little someone hiding there in the corner, that's a Kiana 3. Now this was a pretty close fight, all things considered. I think it came down to him positioning his Kiana against my Riven. That was the difference in the fight, I think. So that was a really heads-up play by him. It really shows his skill level that he got a Kiana 3 and he decided to position it against my Riven. Imagine what would have happened if he didn't position his Kiana there. It's also unfortunate that I didn't get to my cash out. Because if you look at my bench, I was 2 Viegos off of Viego 3. It's truly a shame that I was denied the unique opportunity of losing anyway. That would have been something else to witness. Alas, we carry forward. Next up is another pain in the jacks. So Jax is pretty good against Sentinel because he jumps straight into the back line. Plus, if you position Lux in the second row, she's also able to jump into the back line and basically one-shot anything. The only problem though is Jax jumps away when he casts again, so sometimes you'd lose a fight because he de-aggroed from Ahri and he just wipes your entire team in the meantime. Those are my personal favorites. Watching Jax get to Ahri, have her be one cast away from dying and he just hops away like a leprechaun on a pogo stick, has to be one of the highest honors that have ever been awarded to me. A true privilege that I get to witness that. So in order to cap out with this Jax, you need a Lux 3 on top of Jax 3. That should basically guarantee you a top 3 regardless of the lobby. Now this next one goes out to the TFT community. Seeing as we've made it this far, we've basically compiled an entire lobby that can absolutely beat Ahri with 6 Sentinel. And yet, if you go on the subreddit, which if you haven't, I would actually recommend you don't, you would think we're witnessing the second Black Plague, a warning of the impending apocalypse, when all this is just a strong DPS backliner with a strong frontline. It has nothing to do with Sentinel, and Ahri maybe is a little strong, but it's a formula as old as TFT itself. Now here I have Ahri versus Ahri. And you'll notice, one is 6 Sentinel and the other is just a regular frontline. And I absolutely dust the 6 Sentinel because guess what? My frontline is stronger. Wow. Just play better units than Lilia. Wow. The thing about Ahri is not so much that she's too strong, it's the fact that you could get a 2-star headliner Ahri at 4-1 with 1 roll. That goes for literally every 4-cost carry, Ezreal, Caitlyn. When people hit at 4-2, it just makes everyone in the lobby want to shoot themselves. But ultimately, there are plenty of things that beat it. Stop crying. Go and get yourself some LP. Peace.